Okay. Okay. Welcome to Kyle's Creative Dabbling. This week, note cards is the topic. Something I come up with that applies to creativity that I did this week. And what I mean by that is I started writing stuff down on note cards. And I started writing stuff down on note cards because I was reading this book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And in there I came across something that reminded me of my my youth, my early years, particularly like grade school and possibly it was early middle school. I don't know. But anyways, back then I was in the habit of, it wasn't note cards particularly, but it was just like pieces of paper. I would write down the names of actors, actresses, directors, producers, music people, anything to do with movies. Because in the house at that time, there was a lot of movies in there to watch that I just put into the VCR or the DVD player and watch those films. And I did a lot of that in those years. And I would later want to test myself, and I would just make lists of all the actors and actresses I can remember and all the other professions I just mentioned in relation to it. And I would also want to see if I could remember the names of all the movies a specific actor was in, and then all the other actors that person has acted with in those movies. So I would create all these different lists, and I decided I wanted to do that again, but with note cards. So here is 200 note cards, and on the top of each note card is written the name of an actor or an actress. So this is a list of 200 acting professionals. And eventually on the back, I am going to write all the names of the movies and TV shows they've starred in that I can remember. I could have added to it. I could have added a few more of these stacks probably, but I didn't want to use more than the 200 note cards because I have other plans for these note cards here. Maybe once I get more, I will add to the list here. So, yeah, the name on the top of the list here, so the last name I wrote down was Colby Smulders from How I Met Your Mother. And I haven't even really seen that show. I think maybe I've seen like 2 or 3 episodes total. But I do know that she was in that show, as well as some of the Marvel Avengers projects. Oh, and on the back, the very first card I wrote, speaking of Avengers, was Robert Downey Jr. And I started to write on the back of his card before I decided I wanted to do that at a later point. I got the Iron Man films, the Avengers films, and Saturday Night Live. I know he was in one season of that. I don't remember the exact season, but I do know he was in it. Yeah, that's that. And see, I got the neon colored and the solid white colored here. Both of them ruled on one side and blank on the other. And the neon colored note cards are going to be used for plotting out stories, either for a film idea or just a standard like fictional short story idea or a longer story. And I'm thinking I might have to get some more variety of colors to add to it, because 4 colors to work with here just isn't going to cut it, I don't think, because I gotta factor in main characters, secondary characters, plots, settings, time periods. Yeah, there's just a lot to factor in there. And themes as well. And I also got an assortment of rubber bands. And I'm using the rubber bands to wrap up the note cards. I like these ones. They They're marketed as rubber band balls. These ones are shades of green, shades of orange, shades of red, and shades of blue. Pretty cool. And then on the solid white note cards, for these ones, these are going to be used for anything that don't involve plotting out story ideas, like the previously mentioned list of actors and actresses. So this stack here could be to list out the names of all the authors I remember. This stack here could be to study something new, like the different sizes of concrete aggregate that I should already remember to an extent, but and then yeah, a lot of different things. Painters, I could study that with them. A lot of it. I don't know. I like writing, I guess. And as to this book here, I mean, I was going to talk about this book a little bit, but I haven't really finished it yet. So it kind of doesn't really serve a purpose to do that. But I can tell you, let's see, but I started reading it a few years ago and I never finished it. But there were things I highlighted in here, and then some things I even just crossed out. I don't remember why. Here's one of the things that I underlined. It says, the courage to go on that hunt in the first place. That's what separates a mundane existence from a more enchanted one. Yeah. Now, I don't know why I never finished reading it initially all those years ago, but I do know I'm reading it pretty quickly now. I'm at page 90, and I imagine I'll finish the rest of it pretty soon. Sometimes when I read books, though, which was probably the case with that one, I will read a book, I'll get to a certain point, and then I will either come across an idea in that book that leads me to another book, or I will just independently, for whatever reason, want to start reading another book that applies to me more at that moment. I do have a tendency to jump around from thing to thing like that, just when it comes to ideas or things that I'm looking into or studying, and I guess that's kind of like a nature of like studying. You read one thing and then it leads you to another and another. I get and a lot of books I've read anyways, like a lot of it will like go back to like similar topics. Like you will see the same sources cited in various books, and they'll go over like the same thing but from like a different perspective, and so you just start to acquire more and more knowledge about these different subsets that are being studied from different angles in these books. Like the Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit goes over certain things that I also saw remnants of in Joshua Foer's The Memory Palace book that he did. Moonwalking with Einstein, that was the name of the Joshua Foer book. And yeah, so there's just, some books will just lead you to each other like that, and that's probably what happened with this one here. Yeah, that's about it here. I don't know what else to go over here. But I do know for certain I'm gonna have to eventually buy a lot more note cards. They go pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. Yep. And of course, to find the wall where I can plot out my stories with note cards. Yep. Well, doesn't really bounce. I guess it's not a bouncy ball, it's a rubber band ball. It's too bad though.